What is going on, traders? Welcome back to another live market update. We're going to talk about Trump and his ability to fire Jerome Powell. We are also going to talk about the Tesla earnings report as well as what to expect to come. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Hello, welcome, welcome. If this is your first time watching, we go live every morning. We share updates and basically give a uh, morning setup and kind of a direction overall of where the market is going. Now, I do want to talk about a few things here. And right now it's Tesla. Tesla has an insane earnings report, okay? But at the same time, it's going up, right? They're losing money, but their stock is going up. And we're going to talk about the overall market, Trump, and some updates with Jerome Powell, as well as Fed rate cuts, and a few other different things. Now, uh, welcome. If this is your first time watching, definitely consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And this isn't always uh, typical to do a live stream during the day, but I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of what's going on currently. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and share our link to our Discord as well as to our Facebook community. Right now on YouTube, we have over 7,000 subscribers, but in our Facebook community, we have over 70,000 subscribers or members. So, yeah, very good. Okay, all right. So, crazy how something like Tesla can sell off, yet continue to go up. And also, if this is a bull trap or not um, in the markets. Sorry, trying to get my link shared here. Bit distracted. There we go. Okay, it's obviously not going to work. So we're just going to do this. Boom. Okay, one man show. Smash the like button for me. Okay, there, and right here. And we're done. Okay. All right, so Tesla has some crazy news, tariffs, etc., all going on here. Okay, we're going to be looking at a secondary screen, but I don't want to blind you with what is going on here. Now, Tesla did report earnings yesterday. Okay, and what's crazy is Tesla didn't do very well. Tesla actually had an earnings per share of 27 cents adjusted versus a 39 cents expected. Okay, the revenue was expected at 21 billion and they were a little bit shy at 19.34 billion. So total revenue slid about 9% from 21 billion a year earlier, and automotive revenue dropped 20% from the same period last year. Now, Tesla said one reason for the decline was the need to update lines as its 4 vehicle factories to start making a refreshed version of its popular Model Y SUV. The company also pointed to a lower average selling price and sales incentives as a drag on revenue and profits. Now, that's a little bit interesting because the net income plummeted 71%. Okay, 71%, and yet their company, their stock price went up after hours from 236 all the way to where it is now at 254. Okay, now it says that it's been a brutal start to the year for Tesla, with the CEO Elon Musk spending much of its time. I guess I could showcase this to you guys. Watch your eyes here. Basically, spending much of its time with President Trump overseeing an effort to dramatically downsize the federal government. The president's sweeping tariff plan has led to concerns that the cost will increase for parts, materials, crucial for electric vehicle production, now including manufacturing equipment, automotive glass, printing circuit boards, and battery cells. So that's not great for Tesla. Now, Tesla shares are down 41% so far in 2025 and suffered their worst quarterly drop since 2022 in the period that ended in March. Okay. Now, also, the stock was initially little changed and extended trading on Tuesday but then popped almost 5% after President Trump said he has no plans to fire President or Federal Reserve Jerome Powell. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you guys haven't heard, okay, over the last few days, this was 3 days ago, the White House says President Trump is studying to see whether or not he has the ability to fire the Federal Chair Jerome Powell due to his inability to cut rates, to cut interest rates. Now, this is interesting because this affected the market, right? This was a very interesting day. Markets have been very volatile, and to say the least, markets have just been insane. They've been kind of teetering here at these levels for quite a few days now. Even at that 3-day mark, when Trump was considering whether or not to cut rate cuts, he was scared. The markets were down to 428, 429. I mean, the markets have got as low as 398. And when you look long term, I mean, this is significant. The markets haven't been below this green moving average since January of 2023. And now, I mean, it is a significant sell-off, okay? Now, looking at it weekly, we can see that, hey, it's bounced off of this previously, and we haven't gotten as close to it, but we got very close when it hit that 398 level. 402 level, 398, okay? So was 398 the true bottom for the overall market? We can consider that as a yes, but at the same time, when we're looking at a 4-hour time frame, we have not gone above this moving average at all since the sell-off began in February of this year. Okay, briefly, for just a moment, we got above it, and there was some hope in the market. Okay, now this sell-off occurred when Trump was talking about possibly firing Jerome Powell, and then just a few days later he says Trump backs off threats to fire Fed Chair Powell as stock market surges. And I had even found another article stating that I think he stated that Jerome Powell was a loser and that he should cut rates and this and that, and now he's kind of backing off from it. Same thing with the tariffs. The tariffs aren't going anywhere. I did pull up something else, some more breaking news, saying basically that the S&P 500 drops below 5,400 as Treasury Secretary Bessent says he does not have a time frame for the start of trade talk with China. So they're not even talking to China about figuring out what they can do with these trade wars and tariffs that they're implementing on each other. So because of the lack of even talk, okay, because President Trump said they were talking, but now they're not talking. He wants to try to fire Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, but now he's not. And it just seems like literally everything he says creates an impact in the market. And I want you guys to understand that there is still no trade wars. There's still no talk or time frame to start talk with China. Okay, I want you guys to understand that. And if we don't have any talk, we don't have anyone talking about that, then we're not going to have any resolution to some of these issues that we have going on. Sherry says, welcome back. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It feels good to be back, guys. There's a lot going on, and I feel like I am doing a disservice by not keeping you guys updated. I feel like I'm letting you guys down. So today we're talking about literally what we need to talk about to make sure you guys are aware of what's going on next. Now, I'm going to bring up this other article here. Okay, QQQ getting rejected off of that moving average, just like we stated. This is a bull trap, guys. Do not get so caught up with, okay, hey, this is beginning to go up, so we got to buy long term, when in reality this can sell off much more. Okay, be very careful with that. Now, stocks extend relief rally after Trump said he has no intention of firing Powell. Now, this was 2 hours ago. This was 2 hours ago, guys. Okay, this is live information for you. Now, stocks churned higher Wednesday as investors bet trade war turbulence and attacks on Federal Reserve Chair was easing. Now, the Dow itself tacked on another 588 points, up about 1.5%. S&P 500 jumped up about 2%, still up about 2.5% on the day currently. Okay, now why is this important? Well, gold slid more than 3%. to trade near 3,200 an ounce. Now remember, this is crazy that gold is even at $3,000 an ounce. And now it's retracing back just slightly, backing off of recent records. Gold stands to benefit from a weakening US dollar and is up more than 27% so far this year amid tariff squabbles, is what it says. The 10-year U.S. Treasury note ticked down 5 basis points to 4.34. So, okay, that's great, right? So the Federal Reserve leadership. Now, after a week of harsh criticism of central bank chief, President Donald Trump said Tuesday that he has no intention of firing Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. Now, on Monday, Trump called Powell a major loser and demanded that central banks lower interest rates. Like, what is Trump thinking? His words, man, his words really do affect the market. They really do, and I think he understands that. We've had AI booms, we've had these different booms in the market. We've had meme stocks that rally and boom. We've seen it with different crypto tokens and different type of ways to manipulate the market to make these big pump and dumps. And I believe Trump is just another way of doing it this year. Nothing is based off of any fundamentals anymore. It's all based on whatever Trump says or tweets. And it's very interesting economic conditions that we're living in right now, to be honest. So, in some other economic news, it says Powell's term as Fed chair ends May 2026. So he only has about a year left, about a year and a month left, a year and 2 weeks left in office for Jerome Powell. Now that's interesting, right? Now sales of newly constructed homes surge in March. The government said Wednesday sales were up more than 7% compared to February. Okay, that's interesting. So people are okay. They're constructing more homes. Yes, we do need them now. Lower mortgage rates during the month and concerns about escalating costs probably helped, but at the same time, that doesn't really help much long term. Now, trade wars, on the other hand, stocks were also supported by hope the trade wars will ease. The Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told a group of investors Tuesday that Trump's trade wars with China was unsustainable, according to media reports. Bessent also said that the deal between the two nations were possible and expected there will be a de-escalation in the very near future. Okay, but yet they're not talking. They're not even initiating any type of conversation right now. So I don't even understand why that would even be said. That's very interesting indeed. Vice President J.D. Vance also said the U.S. has made significant progress toward a bilateral trade deal following talks with Indian Prime Minister. Okay. On Wednesday morning, the Wall Street Journal reported that the White House is mulling slashing the tariffs on China, whatever that means. And then now we talk about Tesla. Now, Tesla reported disappointing first quarter results and backed away from its full year sales growth outlook. It admits tariffs might affect its future profitability and announced CEO Elon Musk would spend more time at the company and less time on the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, starting in May. So that helped jump nearly 7% on Wednesday for the stock. Now, the car makers on Tuesday reported first quarter revenues of 19.3. Okay, we already talked about that. Their earnings per share was at 27, missed that 44% forecast per share. Okay, their earnings per share is less, and they have a 40% lower than year adjusted profits. Okay, Tesla's net income plunged 71% following a dip. Okay, so now we're back to talking about Tesla. Tesla pushed up in one day. Yes, it pushed up. But overall, it's still getting rejected at right around 256. It's still getting rejected. Now, why? Because it had a dip in vehicle deliveries, with EV makers contending with increasing competition with foreign brands, shifting trade policies, and a growing backlash to the brand in a wake of Musk teaming up with the Trump administration. Now, in some other news, Intel stock was nearly 6% higher. Reports late Tuesday said Trump maker plans to cut 20% of its workforce. The company is set to report earnings after the bell on Thursday. So tomorrow after the bell, Intel will report earnings. Boeing shares gained 6% after the company announced a narrower quarterly loss and higher revenue than analysts had expected. AT&T stock was higher after telecommunication company reported new customers had increased its first quarter profits and revenue, and said it still expected to repurchase shares. So that's a little bit of news there. Tesla profits, again, going over Tesla, this is insane. This is insane that they can go down so much with just lower planned out of lower cost EV and just Musk's ongoing push into AI powered automotive drives. He's also starting to talk more, or there's been more talk about, of course, autonomous robots and all this other stuff that they're trying to talk to people about, possibly investing in for these future projects, which they've been talking about for quite some time already. So I believe Tesla is in a position of, again, still going down even more. I believe Tesla could hit sub 200s. It's gotten very close previously to, 214 and 217. So, this could definitely go down more. But now that Elon Musk is stepping in, it doesn't mean that maybe he comes in and starts to help the company a little bit more, or drive more demand, or figure out a few ways around some of these obstacles that they are, experiencing right now. Now, with this live stream going on, Tesla is selling off. As you can see, it is below that moving average for the first time today. We'll see if this does hold below, or does this push back up and test these resistance levels. Now, we're seeing a lot of resistance on Tesla right around 256. I'd even say like 258 could be a crucial area. I'm actually going to draw a secondary line there instead of taking off my first line. Okay, we're going to do about a 258. So this is a lot of area of resistance and consolidation, but nonetheless, it pushed up all the way to 256.44 yesterday during its earnings, and that, recently has not been able to get above that level. Now, Tesla was as high as $488. That is insane. I believe there's a lot of manipulation in there, a lot of hype, a lot of, just, what is it? What would you say? Not false, but just high expectations. I would say high expectations for the growth of Tesla, and a lot of people fed into it, and that's why this company went up so high. And that's okay, right? But right now we're experiencing an extreme sell-off. It has already sold off significantly, and doesn't mean necessarily this has to rally in one day. Now, some of the news articles, it's crazy because you don't really see a ton of news articles with these companies like this, but man, a ton of news articles came out for Tesla. Literally, we had one saying Tesla rises after Q1 gross margin beats estimates, and then just a few moments later it says Tesla withholds outlook, citing tariff disruption. I'm sorry. And then it says Tesla inches up as Q1 gross margin beats outshines revenue misses. Another one says Tesla revenue reports results for quarterly end, and it pushes up to 256. And there's this huge doji candle right here where it's like neither bullish nor bearish. It's kind of break even, but a huge volatility, a ton of volatility. And then just moments later, Tesla CEO Musk says we will scale back government work starting in May. So that kind of helped it out a little bit more, push it slightly higher. And then another news article came out saying Tesla Musk plans to cut back work with Trump to 1 or 2 days per week. So then that kind of flatlined it. And it's interesting that all these little baby news articles within just literally from 2:30 to 4:30 in a 2-hour period, there was like 6 news reports. Okay. Then we get into after hours. Musk says Tesla Optimus humanoid robots affected by China's export curbs on rare earths. Okay. And then another one, just moments later, says stock dollar rebound in Asia as Trump steps back. Okay. We get another one, Trump Fed backflip sets off relief rally. Stock dollar rebound as Trump backtracks on Fed attack. And it's interesting how Tesla is reporting all this stuff on their stock ticker. Um, when it has to do with Trump, it has to do with tariffs, it has to do with the stock dollar. It's like, well, what does it have to do with Tesla? And it, of course, it does have a lot of correlation. But then pre-market this morning at 2:20 this morning says stock dollar gain after Trump backtracks on remarks over Fed. So over him saying, oh, well, let's see if we could fire Jerome Powell to, oh, I had no intention of firing him, even though he was looking into it. Very interesting. Very interesting time we are living in, guys. Then, just moments later at 3 a.m. this morning, it says update 5. Investors relieved Musk will refocus on Tesla, but worry about brand damage. 4 o'clock. Tesla to brace for near-term rocky path. 4:30. Tesla shares rise on Musk's return. 5:40, stock dollar rebound after Trump backtracks on remarks over Fed. So they're just repeating themselves. They're saying the exact same thing, but multiple times. They said it at 2:20. They're saying it again at 5:40, which didn't seem to help at all at market open. It still dropped from 257 all the way down to 244. And then, of course, rebounded. Look at some of the remarks today. Musk, Doge, department seen as end of dark chapter for Tesla. Tariff optimism fuels Wall Street as Trump eases stance on Powell. Stock dollar Trump gold falls on hope of end to U.S.-China tariff fight. On hope of. When does the market move on hope? When does the market move on news? And, well, it always moves on news, but it's a very interesting time we're living in, guys. Hopeful investors clutched perilous thin reads. Like these news articles are insane, and they're like every hour on the hour. Tariff optimism lifts Wall Street as Trump softens stance on Powell, saying the same exact thing he said earlier. And then now, just recently, okay, at 117, stock dollar climb, gold falls as U.S. says China tariffs not sustainable. They're not sustainable, but there's no talk. China hasn't started to talk with us. There's nothing being done about it. It just says it's not sustainable. So, okay, so you got Tesla below the moving average, still testing. QQQ now dropping below that moving average. And guys, I love to see this. Okay, in the time of this live stream, we've actually been able to see this drop off. We actually have an position in SQQQ. A very light position. I think we are very close to break even. Okay, didn't want to go too heavy. I started with my one share to kind of track it, and added about 25 shares since then. So about $1,000 investment on shorting the market right now. Very risky. I don't recommend it for any of you, but at the same time, look how much potential it has from down here to even 40, 42. I doubt they'll let it drop that much again, but it is very possible. And if I can make a few dollars short term, then I'm all for it. Now, right now, SQQQ does have a resistance right around $36, which is fine. Looks like it's actually coming back just a little bit from that resistance level. My cost basis line is right here. So pretty much was up about $5 just a moment ago during this live stream. But the point I'm trying to make is if the markets do continue to sell off, which I do believe, we can see, a couple $100 in profit on a small, $1,000 position size. And that's not accounting for, hey, when I really do step on the gas and I actually start adding more to my position, maybe 50, get to 50 shares as it pushes up to 36, 37, maybe get closer to even 100 shares as it pushes up to 37, 38. And if it really breaks $39 or $40, then we can really step on the gas and get into a few hundreds of shares with SQQQ as it would begin to sell off more. Now, why is this so important and what am I looking at? Well, again, I'm looking at the fact that the overall market, QQQ, has not gotten above this moving average. And because it can't get above this moving average, then I believe this could sell off even more. And guys, even just a small sell-off down to 428 again, okay, would be a 7% sell-off. Now, a triple leveraged inverse ETF like SQQQ okay, which goes against the market, and specifically QQQ itself is triple leverage. So if you times 7 by 3, that's 21, and we can see a 21% increase to around that 43, 43 and a quarter area. Now, that would be great, and that's kind of like wishful thinking at the same time. It doesn't have to get to that level, but okay, sometimes patterns tend to repeat themselves. QQQ is obviously getting rejected. If it gets rejected even to that mark, we can make a couple $100 off of $1,000, off of $1,000 position. And if it goes down even more, back to $400 levels, that's a 13% sell-off. That's over 30 or 40% profit. Okay, and we're talking $400 or $500 on a little $1,000 position. And again, that's not saying we didn't add to it. So here we go. It's very nice. QQQ continuing to sell off on that 5-minute time frame. And this is what we were looking at. QQQ is overbought. Every time it touches 463-ish, 464, it gets rejected. Got up to 468 recently on April 9th. Got rejected on April 13th, April 14th, April 15th, and now today on April 23rd, it has got rejected off of 463. We need to get above 463 to see some more bullish action. And until then, I do not see that happening. Where can the markets go? What to expect next? Well, it could very easily come down to $400. It doesn't have to, but with the overall market conditions and the way everything's looking, it can definitely come back down that far. Now remember, don't ever trade based on anyone's opinions, not even my own. This can very easily just kind of bounce off of this level, eventually start creeping above this 200-day moving average and begin to be bullish. And once it is bullish, then I would not mind buying into it, into TQQQ, because TQQQ, once bullish, can go up from even $50 to $90, making a 72% return when the overall market begins to retrace back to $540 levels. That's a 17 to 20% return nonetheless on the Nasdaq, but why not maximize your profits getting into a triple leveraged ETF for the markets and making 70 to 80% as the markets begin to go up? That's what we're all waiting for. That's what we're all excited about. But the overall history and the conditions of the market are still getting rejected by this moving average. And as long as this continues to get rejected, we will still continue to see this choppiness. That's all it's really doing. It's kind of creating this horizontal pattern now. If this drops below, then we will continue to see more selling pressure and get this horizontal pattern that we continue to see, right? This kind of up and down pattern. Let me showcase that to you real quick. Right, it came down in this area, popped up, came down, popped up, came down, popped up, came down, popped up, came down maybe, pops up, comes down, pops up, right? So we're seeing this horizontal pattern. And with that said, we want to make sure that we are aware of it and we don't get caught buying up here and then selling down here and taking a loss. We also don't want to miss the bull rally. When this does break, finally breaks above this 200-day moving average, we don't want to miss that opportunity because we're holding a loss or something on a short. Looks like we're doing good right here. Looks like it did break up. So you guys get to see some shift from negative to positive. Did cross above $36 in SQQQ. Again, a light position. We are up almost 1%. Okay, so what would that be, like about $9 on 900, almost 1,000, right? $10. And if it can get above this, that's great. But right now, QQQ is holding. It looks like somewhat of a support at about 453-ish. Okay, so it's going to need to break that support level, which is pre-market high, pre-market consolidation areas. And I'm glad I'm able to showcase this to you towards the end of the market close. Right, I normally don't hold positions overnight, so we will be closing out this position, you know, possibly during this live stream or after I get out of this live stream, right? Could possibly even hold this overnight, as this could retrace very easily overnight, you know, about 8%. giving us a nice $50 to $60 when we wake up in the morning. Again, if I don't add to this position. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. It looks like the markets are continuing to sell off. Our small position here will continue to go up. And as long as QQQ continues to sell off, SQQQ will continue to push up. So looks like the markets are making a lower low. And that's great. That's exactly what we want to see. We've been waiting for this action all day long. As I did get into this position earlier today, okay. Let's see, show trading record right there. I did get into it on this first initial push. That's why I bought it, because it got above the moving average. Again, knowing that it was oversold, we got in above the moving average, and it came back down a little bit to retest. Now showing signs of it actually showing some bullishness on our SQQQ position, which is great. This continues to sell off after hours. If we can get back up to $39, we could even see $100 in profit when we wake up tomorrow morning if we hold on to this short position for QQQ. Now QQQ can also rebound here. Okay, so be aware of that. I'm not telling anyone to buy, sell, hold, or anything at this level. It could rebound at 450s, 452, 451, even 450 here. It could rebound very easily and start another aggressive push up as overall Nasdaq market. Okay, doesn't mean it has to. So I'm going to keep an eye on my position. It's very light, nothing too crazy. Again, I can get out at any moment. And that's what's so great about trading is, you don't have to, consider losing your overall position size of, say, like $1,000. You can literally just get out and you could make a couple dollars. You could lose a couple dollars. You could hold. But the point is to make sure that you are buying when it's showing signs of a reversal. Like the best part to buy would have been at $33 today. I would have loved to have bought my 26 shares down in this area, because we could have already been up a good 6% today, $60 on a small position, or even loaded up as this began to rise and bought in at this level, sold at this level, making 7% on the day, which is, very, not easy to do, and it's not as common. A lot of people strive to make 1 to 2% a day, so making a 5 to 7% move, maybe with a full position could benefit you overall long term. So it's all about understanding the overall market and the direction that the market is taking. So I want you guys to know also, before I get out of this live stream, that because we've been going for about 30 minutes now. If you're just tuning in, go back and watch from the beginning. We went over, Trump talking about trying to fire Jerome Powell, to now he said he had no intention of firing him, to China not even talking with us, or there has been no start to even a conversation about talking with China about these trade wars, okay? And the overall market conditions with some insight on Tesla earnings and its overall price point. I believe it can go sub $200. So definitely go check out the rest of this if you're tuning in. And if you want to watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow morning, then definitely subscribe to the channel, smash the notification bell. And again, whatever time the market is live in your area, then just know I'll be live with our Learn to Earn team. And we will be either shorting the market or going long. And we have a lot of other companies that we did not cover today in our stocks playlist here that I'm super excited to share with you more on a daily basis. Also tune in, or also you can join our Discord. It is 100% free, lifetime access, and you'll have the ability to get live updates when I am trading specific companies, getting in or out of a position, adding to a position, or just overall giving you updates on the market as far as Trump, tariffs, and market news, Fed rate cuts, etc. You can be sure I'm going to be helping you out with that. We have a lot of new members joining every single day, and I just want to say thank you for being a part of the community, and I will do my best to make sure that we give you daily knowledge and daily information and updates to make you a better and more consistently profitable trader moving forward. Everyone needs a break every once in a while. I had a really nice week off after almost a year of doing this straight, a year of uh, daily live streams to you all. So it was nice to take about a week off, and I'm just excited to get back into the normal routine. So appreciate your guys' time. Like always, smash the like button, and we will see you all in tomorrow's live stream. Have a great day.